Welcome back to my channel for this week's Human Design Transit Report. And today is Sunday, June 18th, and the new transit starts on Tuesday, June 20th. So just a reminder that the transit reports are now going to be released on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So check whatever time that is wherever you are in the world. And I hope that you enjoy watching them on Sundays instead of on Mondays because according to YouTube, that's when most of you are online. So I just figured it would make sense. So we're going to experiment with it for a little while and see if it actually makes more sense to do it on these days. All right. So if you want to know what's happening right now through Monday, then go ahead and watch last week's transit report and you can get all the deets there. And then we're going to dive into the transit that starts on Tuesday. And it's the same transit that we're going to have for the solstice, which is coming up on the 21st. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. Just to note that Mercury is now lighting up the gate 35. The sun was in the gate 35 a few transits ago. And so we have this channel and these two centers defined during that transit as well. Mercury is different than the sun in that Mercury is it's communication. Right? It's communication. So some people say it's what we're here to talk about or what we're here to teach about. It's what we're here to communicate about. And so let's remember that the 35 is all about experience and adventure and trying things out and, going and engaging in things and checking stuff out and having a good time and exploring. And so you may find that you're doing some more of that while Mercury's there, or you may find that you want to talk about adventures that you've had and experiences that you've had. And this can be, just fun, and other people may be doing it too, because again, we're all going to be feeling Mercury lighting up the 35. So don't be surprised if you hear people want to tell you about their trips or adventures that they've had or things like that. This could be a good time for you to write up any stories or record a video of any stories, any experiences that you've had that you want to use as teaching moments. Okay, so let's say, you have gone somewhere and you had an experience and it really helps you to be able to understand your clients better. Okay. And so you want to share with him what that experience was like and use the energy of Mercury lighting up that 35 to be able to share about that. So that's just something for you to think about. And with the whole 35-36 channel lit up, this could be a good time to be expressing your emotional energy more. Too, because the 36 is on the emotional solar plexus, it's emotional energy, and it's bringing that powerful emotional energy directly to the throat, right? From the emotional solar plexus up to the throat over on the left-hand side of the body. So you want to think about, are there emotional things that you haven't shared, that haven't been able to give voice to, that now would be a good time to do that? And it's also emotional energy in terms of it being creative energy. It's not just what we think of as feelings. It's about our ability to activate and manifest and create with our emotional energy. And when the 35-36 is lit up, it's an especially good time to do that. So that's another thing to be thinking about. In addition to that, we have both Mars and Venus lighting up the gate 7, which is on the G center. And we do have the G center highlighted during this transit because where both the sun and the earth are on the G center. But then we also have Mercury and Mars lighting up the 7. And Mercury and Mars have kind of been trading being in the 7, and now they're both there at the same time. So the 7 is known as collaboration in quantum human design. So it's the energy for us kind of collectively to be able to work together to create mutually beneficial agreements and projects and ways of being in the world that really support all of us. And we have both our divine masculine and our divine feminine energy lighting that up right now. So you might want to take a look at what are your projects that you are doing or that you're thinking about doing. What are the agreements that you're in? What are the collaborations or the coalitions that you're a part of or you'd like to be a part of? And to be tuning into how can you be using the really elevated and empowered and awakened expressions of that divine feminine and divine masculine energy, and to avoid the shadow and the disempowered aspects of them, so that you can really be creating from the highest light, if you will, right? You can be working with other people to be bringing through things that are in the really for the benefit of all of us. And just remember that G center is the heart, right? It's what we think of as the heart. The will center is also technically the heart, because both the G center and the will center are part of the heart. But we think of the heart as being the place of love and lovability, right? And our identity, who we know ourselves to be. And that's all in the G center. And so that 7 is also heart energy. It's also love energy. So as we are engaging in our collaborations with other people, doing that from the heart, infused with that love and lovability, and tapping into our own sense of who we are, our identity, and then how are we creating a direction with that, because that's all energy that's coming from the G center. Earth is lighting up the gate 10, which is the gate of self-love. This is a really, really, really important gate in the human design system, and it can be a challenging gate, okay? I would say most of us have been trained out of self-love. If anything, we've been trained into self-criticism, self-flagellation, self-judgment, right? And especially women. Just the conditioning in Western culture against women, and encouraging us to hate our bodies, to hate the way that we look, think we're not pretty enough, we're not smart enough, we're not the right size, we're not the right shape, like whatever, right? All of that. It's pretty negative. So it's important for us to balance out, and push back against all of that cultural conditioning and find our own way to love ourselves. Now, it's known as self-love. The shadow expression, actually the disempowered expression is self-hatred or self-loathing. I mean, I have talked to people who said they have self-loathing. Okay. And like I said, we get it from culture. Sometimes people get it from their families or people, kids they grew up around, whatever. So it's also known as the blame gate. So let me unpack that a little bit. So when you are hating yourself or loathing yourself or criticizing yourself or judging yourself, you are blaming yourself for not being something you think you should be, basically, right? You're not in alignment with some ideal or some idea that you think you should be, or it would be better if you were. And so you're blaming yourself for not being that thing. Now that is so incredibly painful that a lot of times what we do is we develop a strategy to actually throw that blame at somebody else. Right? We get into this thing where it's like, that feels horrible, so I'm going to blame you instead. It must be your fault. You must be responsible for it. Like, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. It's the things out there. This feels so bad. If I can just push it out onto other people. So that happens in the blame game. And then the other thing that happens in the blame game and of the gate 10 is that you attract blame. Like, if you're in the blame state, right? I mean, what is judgment basically but blame, right? And if you're in that state, you're going to attract it too. And it's a nasty cycle to be in, that blame cycle, right? So the antidote, whenever blame and judgment are just swirling around and you're getting it, or you're finding yourself doing it and being like, I don't really want to be that way, but I'm doing that thing, or you're in a state where you're really attacking yourself, is self-love. Self-love. Whatever is happening, ask yourself, how can I be more loving to myself? How can I be more loving to myself? And then do an act of self-love. That can be as simple as putting your hand on your heart, closing your eyes, taking a few deep breaths and going, I really love you. I really love me. Right? And then list 1, 5, 10, 50 things you love about yourself to help shift the energy. Now, if you have this defined in your chart and it's heavily locked into self-blame or self-judgment or blaming others, it takes practice. Because remember, the things that are defined in your chart, you have a consistent, even fixed I would call locked in way of expressing it. Because when we say it's fixed, it makes it sound like it's not changeable. Anything's changeable. You absolutely can change your relationship to the gate 10. But when it's defined, you have to work a little bit harder at it, okay? So you have to give it some attention. But the good news is once you do that, then it locks in that higher expression. It's awesome. Then you don't have to keep doing it all the time. So while this is lit up, you'll get to experience probably the range of what can happen with the gate 10. And just notice and see if other people are doing it to themselves or to each other, right? Is blame going around? Is judgment going around? And if you find that somebody is blaming you, and you're okay, hey, I'm not taking it personally. That's just somebody else's stuff. If you can say something kind to them, something loving to them, that might break that cycle for them. Give it a shot. Could be fun. Can you imagine if we all did that? When people were being kind of gnarly and we just said something kind or loving or compassionate to them instead of taking it personally or getting mad or even just walking away, which can be a good strategy at times. If otherwise you're going to yell at them, it's better to walk away. But let's say you're in a good state and you can just be like, I love what you're wearing today, or I love the way you do this thing, or I so appreciate about you the way that you blah, 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 might be able to unravel that. And it's a really important gate because we've got the sacral and the spleen and the throat all going into the G center through the 10. So if you have defined in your chart energies that are running from those under centers into the 10, they're going to be flavored by however you're embodying that gate 10. So that's something that's good to think about. Then we have the sun lighting up the gate 15. Now, however you are experiencing that 10 is what you're grounded in. Okay, so it's going to influence how you're going to express and experience and embody the 15. So the 15 is known as the love of humanity or compassion. Compassion. It's also known as extremes because it tends to be a little bit extreme. Especially in its timing and its routine and things like that. But I really like to think about it as compassion and love of humanity. And again, it's on the heart center, right? It's on the G center. And it is a beautiful energy that invites us to, as we go into this deep heart energy that we have, to find our common humanity, to find the things that we all share, and to have compassion for ourselves and for others, because life is challenging, Life is challenging. We get stressed out. We make mistakes. We get behind in things. We sometimes get into negative states where we do things or say things that later on we go, gosh, it's not really what I meant or really what I felt, but that did happen. Like, have compassion for yourself if you do that, or have compassion if you see that for other people, right? It's like compassion is one of the highest qualities of the all that is, the flow of life, right? It's compassion. Love and compassion is the emotional tone of the creative intelligence of the universe. Love and compassion. And that's what we're getting with that 10, and it's also what we're getting with the 15, and it's also what we're getting with the 7. So, the 14th Dalai Lama, he's like, my religion is simple. It's kindness and compassion, right? How can we really understand that we are in this together, right? How can we push away the conditioning of culture that tells us that we are in competition with each other, that we need to be better than other people, that if I get something, other people aren't going to get it. If other people get something, I'm not going to get it. It's all based in fear and scarcity and accumulation, okay, which feeds consumer culture, which, of course, Western culture loves, because that's what Western culture is largely based in these days, is consumer culture. So our compassion and our love for ourselves and for each other can help us exit the matrix of consumer culture, the matrix of, hierarchy and domination and competition in a negative. I mean, competition can be fun, okay? Like, you want to go out in a field and play soccer with your friends, great, right? But competition where you're talking about dominating and destroying the competition, right? Which you see in like marketing, right? Dominate your market. I'm like, oh, I don't want to dominate anybody, right? So this is an opportunity for you to get to unravel all that programming. And it's grounded in self-love. It's grounded in self-love. And if you're stuck in the blame game, it's really hard to get to compassion. It's really hard, okay? So this is your invitation, right? This is your assignment if you choose to accept it during this particular transit. We're going to be digging into these energies more deeply in a special solstice event that I'm going to do on Thursday, June 22nd. So it's just coming up in a few days. It's going to be inside the Becoming Sovereign online community, our virtual retreat center. And the link to join us there will be in the description below. And it's free to join. And I would love, love, love to see you there. This is the apex of the climb of the sun in the northern hemisphere, and after that the days will get shorter and the nights will getting longer. And of course, on the other side of the world, their days are going to start getting longer, and it's the apex of winter for them. So wherever you are in the world, I hope that you will join us, and we will do a ceremony and a ritual together, and we'll do a kriya together, and this will give us an opportunity to come together as a community. And I would love, love, love to meet and be with you there. Okay, many blessings, much love.